Have you ever been to that thing where it's like the guy goes, I'm going to make everybody uncomfortable at some point? That's not my goal, but it can happen. It can happen. So I do believe that there's a power in prayer. Paul tells the elders there to lay hands on in prayer, and that gifts are exchanged in that way. He refers to Timothy experiencing his gifting that he walks in. He says that was given to you by the laying on of hands. He also is very, very firm in encouraging men to pray consistently. So your voices are powerful. Your voices are strong. One thing that I found is interesting is when you get a room of men together, there's a strength in the room in the voices too. Sometimes you got to hear everybody's voice at once to really hear that sound and the strength that's there. So we're going to get into this message on stronger, which is stronger hearts and secure lives. I hope you have gotten something foundational from the past two messages, because we're about to shift in how we're doing this. It's going to be a big shift in how we're doing this. So what we've done so far is I basically preached. Lengthy time. This session, we're going to spend some time in prayer as we go through. We're building this off of 8 questions. 8 questions. So we're going to do 8 questions. These are questions that you're able to ask God. You're able to ask somebody sitting at your table. But I want you to have a pen and one of these pads in front of you so that you can write some things down as we're going along, because I'm going to give you some cues. And here's what I want you to do. If you're willing to, I want you to accept that God might stir something up in your heart during this session. It might even prompt you towards something. Might lead you in a specific way. How many of you come into this session with a desire for clarity in an area of your life? You showed up at the retreat this weekend seeking a little bit of clarity? Yes? Come on, hands up. You didn't? You're just here. That's great. This table right here, these guys are so far ahead of the game in life. Look at these strong men right here. How old are you? 20?
25.
25. The 25 and under table they don't even need clarity. They're just walking in wisdom already. Don't tell me you ain't here looking for a little bit of clarity. Maybe a little bit? Yeah? You trying to figure it out with school? Try to figure it out with a girl? Some of y'all been asking clarity for a girl for a long time. How we doing over here? We okay? I'm not digging in there. I was going to go back to here. You got to be doing great because you got a Runza hat on. You're the best of us. My guess is that you're walking into this weekend with something going on in your life significant that you're actually looking for some answers to, or you're looking to be strengthened. Do you have something that you're looking to be strengthened in? You're looking to overcome. You're looking to experience what he refers to as the overcoming life, the idea that you're more than a conqueror, yes? We have like a couple things. Okay, so go ahead if you haven't written it down yet. Lord, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to be strengthened in this way. I'm looking to be built up in this way. I'm looking to be established in a new way. Write that down. What's the thing that I showed up this weekend that I'm looking for more of God in? I'm looking not just for more of God in general in my life. That's a good thing. But I'm looking for more wisdom. I'm looking for more understanding. I'm looking for a walk with him that leads me forward in a way that otherwise I can't do on my own. That's the advantage of life with God. It's the unique advantage. Don't let disappointment from the past keep you from big questions with God right now. So the Almighty God doesn't have weak sons. The spirit of adoption that gives you the spirit of sonship means he is willing to do things inside of you that are beyond what you would imagine. How does he show up in your life? How would he like to show up? Who would he like to be for you? That's what we're going to do. So let's go to work. That's what men say. Let's go to work. All right, here we go. Stronger hearts, secure lives. How many of you in here go, yeah, that's what I would like. I like some strengthening on the inside. This table. I love you guys. Thank you for the nods. It's interesting. We are what is referred to as the anxious generation, and it's not just the youth. It's a global pandemic of anxiety. We're not sure how to handle life in this new era. Number one question is this. Some of your sons trample on the lion and the cobra, and they slay giants. How do I become this kind of son? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to just take a moment, and I want you to pray that. And then after you pray it, I want you to write down whatever comes to mind first. Some of your sons trample on the lion and the cobra, and they slay giants. How do I become this kind of son? How do I become the kind of son who tramples on the lion and the cobra and slays giants? And then write down, as you ask that question, whatever comes to your mind, go ahead and write that down. Psalm 91:13, you shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. What is essential for my development is to face enough challenges and to overcome these that the lion and the serpent no longer intimidate me. So to do that, I'm going to have to learn to become grateful for the problems that I currently have. The lion and the cobra, they represent the thing that strikes at you, the thing that seems like it's going to attack you, the thing that it seems like you can't overcome. You're going to overcome that. But if you're going to overcome that, we don't just get to that point of overcoming those things through wishful thinking. We have to shift our mindset altogether. So what is part of that process in our development is beginning to become grateful for the challenges that we currently experience. Here's what I want you to do at your tables is go ahead and share what you got when you wrote down something in reflection to this, and let's just share together on this. I'll give you a couple minutes to talk about this. Here we go. Question 2 is going to be this. Question 2, well, let me give you a quote first. You ready? We're going to be giving you some quotes from Graham Cook. So when I say here's a quote, almost every time in this session, it's Graham Cook if I don't cite it. Spiritual warriors take the first and most courageous step. Everybody's a soldier in the kingdom. A few are warriors. Spiritual warriors take the first and most courageous step. To stay when everyone around you is running takes supreme confidence in who God wants to be for you. These warriors carry an assurance of God's heart towards them. So here's the question, question 2. And I want you to write down what you get as you pray this. How do I partner with you, Lord? How do I partner with you on my development so that I don't delay it? First thing that comes to mind, go ahead, write that down. Some of you, it's a very clear answer. Some of you, it's like, man, I don't know. I just kind of got a picture of myself at the gym under a squat bar with a trainer there. Yeah. He's trying to add some strength to you. The Holy Spirit's the best trainer on the planet. He's the best strength coach that there is. By show of hands, how many of you are concerned, worried right now about getting the wrong answer as you're writing this down? All right, good. A lot of my church friends are very worried about getting the wrong answer. So they miss that there is a good answer. But sometimes you got to get to the wrong answer first. It's like our faith, our spirituality is the only place where we don't expect that we're going to mess it up sometimes. It's like, hey, you got right motives, right form, right process all the time. I'm like, I'm just not that good. There's a lot of me involved in this. So, go ahead and we'll give you a couple more minutes to be able to talk at your table about this. Lord, how do I partner with you on my development so that I don't delay it? Give you about 90 more seconds. If you've been the primary talker, make sure other people get an opportunity to be able to share at your table. All right, let's continue forward. Here's a thought as we look at this. Submission is where we make ourselves vulnerable to the goodness of God. It's your submission that makes you vulnerable to the goodness of God. And that's a good thing to make yourself vulnerable to. Your level of growth is tied to the depth of your surrender, which is probably the most challenging thing for men, because the one thing that we're taught is to not surrender. And even when we do surrender to God, that's an ongoing process, isn't it? It's not natural for you to raise a white flag, is it? So we even have to fight ourselves off for surrender. Continuing forward, number 3, Lord, where are you going to be when the pressure increases? Spiritual warriors know that part of their inheritance is complete confidence in Him. Their confidence in His nature puts their spirit at rest. All of God's promises are designed to inspire us in our dependence on Him. Part of your inheritance is complete confidence in Him. Lord, where are you going to be when the pressure increases? Go ahead and write down what comes to mind as you pray that. You might even find yourself in a chapter in life, in a time, in a season where the pressure is increasing, and so how do you walk that out at this time? Having a confidence of where He is important for being able to walk the path forward. After you've taken a few moments to write down, go ahead and share at your tables on that as well. All right. Joshua 1:9 says, be strong and courageous. Remember the second part of it? For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Matthew 28, surely I will be with you always, even to the very end of the age. The challenge is that when the pressure increases, a lot of times you'll feel His presence less. So having the certainty of His presence is important, right? I know you've been through this. This is a refresher. That question was a refresher before we get to some of the fun ones. I want us to look at Psalm 112. The key to walking with a stronger heart and a secure life is found in the withness, W-I-T-H, the withness of God, the understanding that He is with you. So Psalm 112, went ahead. Psalm 112 says this in verse 5, a good man deals graciously and lends. He will guide his affairs with discretion. Now, I remember the first time I heard verse 6 because I was gripped by it in 2013. I told you earlier about some of the confusion that I had with God, some of the disappointment, some of the experience of feeling let down after, God, I thought you were leading me here. And I heard this verse in the middle of that. It said, surely He will never be shaken. The righteous will be in everlasting remembrance. Here it is. He will not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is steadfast, trusting in the Lord. His heart is established. He will not be afraid until he sees his desire upon his enemies. His heart is steadfast. He's trusting in the Lord. His heart is established. He will not be afraid. He will never be shaken. There's a security that he walks in. It doesn't say that the situation feels secure, but there's a security and there's a rootedness that comes from the presence of God in his life. I love this quote. This is one of my favorite quotes I've ever read. Jesus is supremely unworried. You might not be. But this, okay, so in Oklahoma City this past year, we won an NBA championship. I know it's been a few years since you guys won an NCAA championship, but you have. We didn't pray for the Huskers a few minutes ago. I was meaning to do that. You're like, do you pray for your team? Yes, and my team won a championship. So judge me for it. You can say that's too shallow, but I pray about everything. So Um, so we won a championship, and there's a really interesting thing because, one, people like me start to say we, but the other thing is the players have this level of joy. I got to go to the in-arena celebration after, and I was at the parade, and there's this level of joy, and the reason is that it doesn't matter what any other player in the NBA says at that moment. You won. You're at the very top. And I got to be honest, I think winning is the greatest feeling in life. I don't know if there's anything sweeter than winning. So it hits me that the championship parade that we experienced, Colossians 1 has this moment where I think Colossians 1, Colossians 2, it talks about Jesus bringing out the principalities of darkness and essentially putting it on display as he parades through in his victory celebration. And today, he is feeling just as victorious as he did when he came out of the tomb. Just the reality that he is unrivaled and that there is nothing that has thrown him off in the least over the past few thousand years. We're like, well, what about... I win. That is amazing, which means that the winner resides within you, and he is supremely unworried about your situation. And he is simultaneously very fascinated with your development. That's an interesting combination to have someone who's completely unworried. A lot of us experience someone who is interested in our development, but they were also very worried about us or controlling. He is supremely unworried. He actually believes in you. And if he didn't, he wouldn't have sent you on assignment with the belief that you could actually pull it off. Isn't that kind of wild? Jesus was like, you know what? I think it's actually better if I leave. I'll send the Holy Spirit, and then the whole world's going to know about me because of you guys. He has a higher view of you than you have of you. Anyway, he's supremely unworried. Peace enables us to lead an untroubled life. So, where's he going to be when the pressure increases? He's going to be with you, but he's also going to be supremely unworried. What he might let you do sometimes, though, he might gauge you. Just kind of watch. I can bring my brother-in-law out on this one since I know them. It's like, I put something in RF to pray for that. Is he going to believe me now? Like, I'm just going to kind of let him. He's unworried about it. He sees our development. He sees who Lynn's becoming. He goes, I think I'm just going to enjoy watching who he's becoming. This is not the view that I grew up with God. I certainly didn't see him enjoying who I was becoming. Saw a little bit different expression on his face. Disappointment, frustration. But the Jesus that I meet who's victorious, yes, he corrects, yes, he challenges, but he also sees me as his righteousness. And then he goes, let's take you from strength to strength. Let's establish your heart so that you're secure. I want you to be steadfast. I want it to be so that when you go up against the most difficult opponent that you've faced to this point in your life, that at that time, you actually get giddy. You're like, I've been waiting for this. I've been training for years for this. This is fantastic. How are we going to get out of this? I remember talking to a mentor of mine, and he looked at me with a gleam in his eyes, and he goes, I got a $300 million problem. And it actually was. COVID had just hit. The largest restoration building in the history of Oklahoma. Largest asbestos project in the United States, I believe in 2020. And they couldn't get any bank to finance them. So he's praying about it one day. And what he hears the Lord say to him is, $300 million? That's a breath. So he says, breathe on me. Breathe on me. And then he hears back, I can't give you what I want to give you right now. I can't bless you with what I want to bless you with because your foundation has cracks. I've got to work on you so that I can get you ready for what's coming to you. The funding showed up through a miraculous moment. I can't tell you all the details. The building project is done. He's on the other side of all of it. It's unbelievable when you hear the story. He'll have a book, I think, that'll come out in the next year or two. It'll inspire you. It'll encourage you. But it shifted how I started viewing problems. It's not that I view every one of them with like, here we go. But every once in a while, I think, you know what? This is a great moment to get really excited. Because it seems like maybe the Lord's trusting me with a little bit more than he trusted me with last year. Have you gotten grateful about it yet? Let's continue forward. Here we go. Number 4, Lord, how would you like to edit my thoughts and prayers? How would you like to edit my thoughts and prayers? Give you a minute to write this down. If the Lord was the one praying on your behalf, would he do any editing to how you show up? All right, I'll give you a few of mine. So what he might edit with me is from, God, I feel like I'll never change, to, Lord, which of my perceived limitations would you like me to stop defending? Who said it was a limitation? Maybe I just perceived it. And why do I feel the need to defend that part of me? From, God, why do I always face these problems too? You talk about slaying giants. How exactly are we going to pull this off? From, God, it seems like no matter what, I'm going to fail, to, I feel weak and my experience of me disagrees with your definition of my identity. So what do we do about that? Here's what I want you to do is I want you to take a few minutes and at your table, talk about how the Lord might go about editing your thoughts and prayers. All right. Here is one more quote for you. I want you to be aware of this one. Negativity neutralizes faith and nullifies our peace and rest, making us vulnerable to fear, anxiety, doubt, and unbelief. If we find it easy to be cynical, we have traveled a long way down the road of negative thinking. So just be mindful sometimes when it's like, oh, my prayers are in a certain direction. I may have just traveled down a road that the Lord didn't intend for me to walk down. I want to fill my mind with things. This is something that I have to do consistently because it's really easy for me to go negative. The more that I am asking him to edit my thoughts and prayers, the more that I think I'm moving back towards what he would want. But my brothers-in-law can tell you how negative I can get and just how angry I can get. Lynn knows this well from the basketball court. He can really tell you if you go ask him. But I'm working on it. I'm working on it because I want to, be kind. It's the whole thing of love is patient, love is kind. It's so inconvenient, isn't it? But here we are anyway. It's what we're supposed to do and who we're supposed to become, so might as well embrace it. All right, so question 5 is this. What is the chaos that I face testing in me? Have you noticed that chaos tests something? I'm guessing you got a little chaos in your life, right? If not, it's a good thing for you to run back into it. Comfort is the God of America. Run into the chaos. That's where he is. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what is the chaos I face testing in me? Down there? You got something written down? All right, good. So I'm going to give you the next couple questions, and then we're going to walk through these very quickly together. What I want to do is I want to give you a couple moments in Scripture that are going to highlight this so that we can walk with established hearts that are secure. I'm also going to share a testimony in this because I found that Whether you disagree with this, agree or disagree, it's my story, so I'm sticking to it. That's the beauty of testimony. You don't have to agree. It's my experience. What if I was a man who did not need the storm to stop? We're going to talk about this in just a moment. What if I was a man who did not need the storm to stop? The next one is, what if I was a man who could walk on top of the storm? This one gets really exciting. And then our final question is, who do you want to be for me now that you couldn't be for me before because I wasn't ready for that part of you yet? That's where we're going. All right, so let's go back. We're going to go all the way to what is the chaos that I face testing in me. So a little bit of my background. Growing up, Michael Jordan was my favorite basketball player. I don't know about you, but I love Michael Jordan to this day. Absolutely crazy about Michael Jordan. Love that you're wearing Jordan. Some people are like, is Jordan or LeBron better? Ain't nobody walking around wearing LeBrons. Throughout America, we're wearing Jordans. So you got that. But on top of that, I just think Michael Jordan's amazing. Michael Jordan wore number 45. Yes, for a short time, 45, but really he wore 23. I've always had a special relationship with the number 23. I don't know how else to say that. I didn't realize how special the relationship was, though, until I got into a really difficult time in life. It started in January 2015. January 23rd, 2015, that was the day that my mom got diagnosed with cancer. June 23rd, 2016, my mom died of cancer. So 23 became significant. I got to spend the final 3 months or so kind of just spending time with her, helping take care of her up in Boise, Idaho. And each night that I was there, I would quote Psalm 23 to her. At the beginning, I couldn't quote it, but it's not super long, and I read it enough that eventually I had it. So now Psalm 23 for me has these and thous, because that's how I know it. I was reading out of her Bible. I love that I have those moments. I love that I have that history. What was interesting was 23 became a day, I don't know how else to say it, but 23 became a day where I just started seeing God do things. I wish I would have written down all the things that I saw God do on 23s, but I'm going to tell you a couple of these. So let's see, it's September. And I want to encourage you with this. Sometimes I don't share this part of the testimony, but I just want to share this to encourage you. It's September of 2021, and I am coming to the end of a 40-day fast. It's liquid fast, and I am wrapping it up, and my final day on it is September 23rd. Didn't plan it. Just how it went. Very exciting. Get done. Get to eat again. It's the best. Leading up on that week, I'd done a few of these, and leading up on that week, I was like, Lord, I never want to do a 40-day fast again. That week, night 39, a preacher came into town, and during the worship service that I was at, I don't know what happened to this day. I'm only telling you my story. I felt that the Lord said, get on your knees and get on your face and worship me. The worship went a long time. The preaching went a long time on that night. The service went about 2.5, 3 hours. I laid on the floor and I wept for 2.5 hours. I've never experienced anything like it before or since. Not like that. After that, I became hungry for prayer. It was interesting. When I was in the fast, I didn't want to pray. On the other side, that's when I became hungry for prayer. I didn't think people fasted back in the day. And then I remember when I was going into my 25th year, I think, I heard a guy say he was doing a 31-day fast for his 31st year. I was like, well, I guess I'll try. So I was like, I'll do 25 for my 25th year. And I was shocked I was actually able to do it. My counselor was like, what if you fail? And I was like, I don't know. I've never tried. And the first time I ever fasted, I didn't make it through lunch. I took out a guy's drive-through trying to pull our church bus through. But that's a different story. So I went home and ate a bag of potato chips that day. So my fasting started with failure. But I got to do some long ones as the years went on. And I found that every time I've done one, the Lord has increased my spiritual hunger, that he's led me into a place of faith that I didn't have before. So I'm a big encourager of people to do it, whether that's one meal, whether that's a day, whether that's a few days. Maybe you start feeling a stirring to go for more. I encourage you to do it. I found a lot. But I finished on September 23rd. A couple weeks after that, I felt the Lord say, one day when I was journaling, I felt him say, you're going to be moving soon into a new job. And I said, great, like what are we going to be doing? I didn't think I was moving cities. He just said, you're going to be starting a new kind of work soon. He said, I'll show you after you step out of this one. I was like, well, I don't like that. Don't know about you, but I kind of like having a little bit of a plan. So 2 weeks later, I was in our prayer room at the church that I was at the time. And while I was in the prayer room, he said, I thought it was going to be 3 months later. I had it figured out at least. And he said, all right, today's the day. I said, I don't like that. But I went in and I gave them my two weeks notice. And suddenly I didn't have a job. And I felt like he was like, hey, I just want you to step out and do this thing with me. So it's November and December, and in January, I actually embarked in this business, and I was leading a business at the time, and I got to do a lot of different training and coaching and working with different people. I didn't know how to get business, so I just started a podcast. Somebody listened to the first episode. They were with a state agency. Next thing I knew, they were meeting with me to help them run an event. I was like, okay, I don't know what it's like to work with a state agency. I do know that I'm running out of money. This is scary. And I got the contract with them. But if you know anything about the state doesn't move quickly on paying you. And so I just had people keep coming up to me and saying, hey, I just feel like the Lord's telling you, don't give up, just continue forward, stand where you are. They didn't know how bad it was. They didn't know how tight it was. I was like, okay, cool. We'll just keep standing in faith. I was cynical. What I find really interesting is that just a few weeks later, things had gotten signed, things were going through, but things got really bad. And I woke up one Wednesday morning, and to be completely honest, my personal bank account was negative, and my business bank account was negative. And I was like, well, this was not the plan when I stepped out in faith. Here we are. And I remember I was on E on my car, so I couldn't drive far. But I felt like, well, things aren't going well. I should go to the men's Bible study on Wednesday morning. So I got up and I went to the men's Bible study. And I had been waiting for weeks to get paid, and nothing's going through. And I'm like, I think it's another month or two. The state's just not going to pay me. And they'll probably pay me incrementally when they finally do. Well, here's the background, is you had to be at a certain level. If you go beyond a certain level on the bid, and I'm only going to say this number just because of the bid with the state. So at the time, if you went above a certain level, it has to go out to other contractors as well once you hit like a certain threshold. But if you went under, they told me, nobody else gets to bid. We can just sign it. So I went for the highest possible number that I could with that. So, and this is going to be like a 6 or 7 month contract. Well, I go to the coffee shop. These guys are doing a Bible study on that morning, and I'm driving away from it, and I'm like, I hope I make it home. And as I'm driving along, I get to a red light, and I go, I wonder how bad my bank account is today. And I open my app, and all the money's in there. And it just happens to be March 23rd, 2022, and the number that is in my bank account, well, it wasn't exactly this because I was in the negative before, but what had been transferred to me was $23,999.99, the max out that you can possibly get on 23. Are you with me on this? On the 23rd, 6 months to the day that the fast ended. I'm like, I didn't earn it, by the way. Fasting doesn't earn it. I'm going, this is awesome. So I drove to Chick-fil-A and got a chicken biscuit, and I filled my car up, and I was like, okay, now we can live again. This is going to be really fun. The next year, 2023, I had my best year in business that I had ever had before. And I didn't make one bit of business happen. I didn't sell anything. It all came to me. God is my witness. 2023, the entire year. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Teaching me how to receive. So, last year, I made a new friend who I didn't know. He's an oil and gas guy. He watched a podcast I had done at the time. We have barbecue. He goes, I saw you got Jordans on that screen cover. It was these, the only pair I had. He goes, Lord told me you're getting more Jordans. It's like, what are you talking about? Shows up one day, he goes, can you meet me? I meet him at a Starbucks. He hands me 8 pairs of Jordans. My friends, that's not cheap. It's a lot of money that he spent. I go, what is this? He goes, Lord told me it's new beginnings for you. 8:23. The Bible number 8 means new beginnings. I'm only telling you my testimony. The Lord began to teach me in this to simply walk with him and know that you didn't even supply what you wanted on your feet. I bless you with that. Does the Lord need to give somebody Jordans? No. Am I grateful he gave me Jordans? Yes. I actually like them. I love wearing them. That's what I'm going to do. And the guy who gave them to me says, you can't give them to anybody else. It's a gift. I said, oh, well, okay. Which was good he said that because I have this problem with receiving. I feel bad about getting things. So I feel like as soon as I get something good, I need to give it to somebody else. Anybody else? Start feeling a little guilty about it. So what is the chaos that I'm facing testing in me as I look back on that time again and again when I was like, okay, I stepped out. Lord, I felt like you called me here. I stepped out. I'm standing. What consistently got tested in me is this. Is he good? And specifically, it's not a question of is God good? It's is he good to me? I believe that chaos will always lead you back to that question. Is he good to me? Chaos in its nature is always testing the goodness of God. It says in Genesis 1:2, now the earth was formless and void. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. There was chaos, and God was hovering over. He loves to bring order to the chaos. So the question is not how do I act in perfect situations? The question is who do I become when life feels out of control? And here's what I want to encourage you with today is that uncertainty is your friend. The lack of clarity that you are experiencing is revealing something inside of you, and what it's revealing is how you respond to uncertainty. Have you thanked God for that revelation yet? Until you understand the lack that's there, he can't build that in. He won't build that in. He builds it in little by little, but it happens once we begin to understand what we do in chaos. So this quote from Graham Cook, he says, a spiritual warrior is sent out as a lamb among wolves. He's British, so you can hear his voice on this. He says, but our best friend is a lion. Isn't that nice? That even though you feel like a lamb and you're sent out among wolves, our best friend is a lion. So my friend Gary, he's the one who did the big real estate project. He walked in one day and he goes, I think I got something that is changing my life. He was one of the guys in the cigar group that I was telling you about last night. He said this. He looked at all the men in there and he said, what if you were a man who didn't need the storm to stop? You remember the story about Jesus in the boat, right? So what we normally do in this story is we go, yeah, I'm like the disciples. Jesus, wake up! Jesus, wake up! And Jesus is a man. And even though he's a man, what's he doing? He's sleeping. And the scripture says that he was the same as us. He was tempted in every way we were. He was tested in every way we were. So he didn't get a special deal on this. So what was he doing that allowed him to sleep? He had a supreme confidence in who God was. You can't tell me Jesus liked the feeling of being cold and wet. Water sloshing into the boat. The boat's about to go under. They're like, we're going to drown. And Jesus is asleep. And so Gary looks at me and this other group of guys and he says, what if you were a man who did not need the storm to stop? And then he said this, how many of your prayers would you stop praying today? Because your prayers, he's looking at me, your prayers are, get me out of this. And my question is, what if he wants to lead you into it? Because that's how he's going to develop you. He wants you to become a man who can sleep through the storm. The focus isn't to become like the disciples. The focus is to become like Jesus. What if you were a man who didn't need the chaos to stop? What if you actually got giddy about it? This is what I'm trying to do right now. It's such a mental shift, but when things get really uncertain, I am trying to train myself right now and working for it daily, that when things feel uncertain, I go, this is great. This is my best moment. Why? Because now I get to become someone substantial. This is all part of who God wants me to be. I don't get to that person if I'm always trying to get out. I've got to learn how to be grateful. Question then is, what if I was a man who could walk on top of the storm? Because it wasn't for Jesus just about sleeping through it. Remember, the disciples are in the boat later on. You can see it in Matthew 14. They're in the boat. He comes walking out on the water. Only this time, in the water and the waves and the storm, it represents chaos, the ancient world. That's what the water and the wind and the waves represented. The storm represented chaos. In this time, it's not just about can you sleep through it? Now the question is, can you walk on top of it? Can you walk on top of chaos with confidence? You start walking through life on top of chaos with confidence, something very peculiar is afoot in your life. I'm not talking about faking it. We've all been there before, or at least a lot of us have. It's not about faking it. Oh yeah, I'm feeling totally peaceful. I might not be. I'm learning how to walk it out right now. I'm learning how to be confident in him. I'm learning to be unworried just as Jesus is unworried. Here's the question that I found is helpful as we go along in this process of him developing us. And it's a question for you to ask the Lord in new seasons again and again and again. Who do you want to be for me now that you couldn't be for me before because I wasn't ready for that part of you yet? The problem wasn't on him. I just wasn't mature enough for that part of him. Some of you have young kids, right? I mean, RF, the way that you talk to Brenna is different than the way you talk to Ross, but also in 5 years, the way you talk to Ross and Brenna will be different than how you talk to them now, right? There are parts of you that you can't give to them yet. It's not that you don't love them, but you can't give them certain things because they're simply not ready for that yet. In our development, who does he want to be for us now? This is a question about intimacy. Intimacy with the Lord. Because the most dangerous thing about you and I to the enemy is our intimacy with him, our intimacy with our Father. And the way we get there, back to this morning, is in the secret place. Can we take like a 30 or 40 minute break here? Is that good?
There's nachos and root beer floats.
We got nachos and root beer floats. Do we come, Franklin, do we come back in here at 3:30?
Let's shoot for like 3:10, 3:15.
3:15. All right, sounds good. 3:15, we'll come back in here. That's the question to reflect on. This is not just for this session, though. I wanted to give you 8 questions that you could work through, journal through, walk with your brothers through here, possibly over the next year, 2, 3 years. These are deep questions. They take us out into the deep waters, and in the chaos, that's where we find them.